The notes for today are quadratic formula. So quadratic formula is this long formula right here. So a negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. And when it's talking about the a, b's, and c's, it is referring to a being the number by the x squared. So this a corresponds to this a and this one. And then b being the number by the x. So you'll see how we use it. And then c being the number that has no variable. So basically you plug everything in, you put it into a calculator. So you definitely will want to make sure that you have some kind of calculator so that you can work out the math on these. All right, so first thing foremost is they have to equal 0. So like the first one we're doing equals 0, so this one's ready to go. While this next one we're going to do does not equal 0, so we will need to subtract that one first. So for the first equation, our a is here, here's our b, here's our c. Always a good idea to write out the values. That way when you go to plug them in, you don't have to try to find them. They're right where you have them. I would recommend writing out the formula. So don't put the numbers in yet, just write x equals, and then negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. And now we're just going to basically plug things in. So x equals, so 8 is b, so I want negative 8. So negative 8 plus or minus. Then you're going to square 8, so 8 squared. We'll do all the numbers in just a second. This minus 4 is part of the problem, so that will not ever change. Then a is 7, so times 7. And then c is 1 times 1. And then everybody over 2 times a, but again, a is 7. And then when you do this in the calculator, it's important that you do the right order. So you will want to, so leave that negative 8. Put 8 squared in your calculator first. That's going to give you 64. And then you're going to do this whole section together. So a negative 4 times 7 times 1 is going to give you a negative 28. And then you will have 14 on the bottom. And then we still have to figure out the quantity that's underneath the radical. So you'll want to put this in your calculator. So don't take the square root yet. So then negative 8 plus or minus 64 minus 28 should give you a 36 over 14. Then in your calculator, you want to do 36, the square root of 36. So second, I don't think I did that right. Let's do 36. Sorry, I'm not used to this calculator. No, that ain't gonna work. And that is not what number I want. Oh goodness, I'm using the wrong button. Oh, sorry team. I'm used to a completely different calculator. There we go, 6. But we know it's got that plus and minus, so it's gonna be a plus and minus 6. Sorry, that took way more time than it should have. So negative 8 plus or minus a 6, no radical on it now because that is the square root, over 14. And here's the part you just got to be careful of. It's like before where you actually have 2 different answers here in this 6. So when you go to write these out, there's 2 different ways. You're going to do the negative 8 with the plus 6 over 14. So the negative 8 with the plus 6 over 14, and we'll come back to that. Then you're going to do the negative 8 with the minus 6. So you need to make sure you take both 6s when you work these out. Negative 8 plus 6 will give us a negative 2 over 14, and I can reduce that by 2, giving me a negative 1 over 7. And then this will give me negative 14 over 14, which reduces to negative 1. So your 2 solutions are a negative 1/7 and a negative 1. We're going to do one more of these, just make sure we've got it. Same process. This one does not equal 0 though, so the first step is to subtract this 1 over so that it equals 0. Always must equal 0. So then it's 3x squared plus 5x minus 1 equals 0. Now you can mark your A, B's, and C's. So here's A, B, C. So A is 3, B is 5, C is negative 1. We're going to write the formula out. So we're going to write x equals negative b plus or minus square root, make it a long one, b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. And now we'll plug everything in. So we'll have x equals a negative b, but b is 5, plus or minus. Then you're going to take and 5 will get squared, so 5 squared minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 1, over 2 times a, which again is 3. So then again, you're putting all this in the calculator. Again, watch your order. So I'm going to leave that negative 5 out in front. I'm going to work on this part here. This is 5 times 5, so 25. And then again, you basically want to group all three of these. Take the sign. So negative 4 times 3 times negative 1 should give you a positive 12. So when you take all three, by taking that sign, hopefully you'll make sure you change the sign. And then it'll be over 6. And then we'll keep going. So we're going to add that 25 and that 12. And that'll give us 37 over 6. Now 37 is not a perfect square, so we are going to need to put this in the calculator. Now that we can remember how to do that. So we're going to do 37. I think you got to do it different. And you're going to see that I get a very long decimal. You want to take 1, 2, 3. I take 4 decimals. So 6.0827. So x equals negative 5 plus or minus. You won't put the radical anymore, but you'll put 6.0827 over 6. And now this is just like the other problem where we're going to need to write this number twice, once with positive, once with negative. Just you will want to make sure that when you're doing that, that you push the buttons correctly into the calculator. So the first term we'll use the positive. So a negative 5 plus this 6.0827 over 6, and then we'll compute that, and then do the negative of it. So negative 5 minus 6.0827 over 6. Let me go ahead and work that out. So 6.0827 with the negative 5 divided by 6. For this one, I get 0.18045. For the bottom one, I am getting, I'm getting a negative 1.8471, and it keeps going, but we'll just take that many decimals. Most of the homework says around to the hundredths place, which is 2 decimals. So for 2 decimals, that's where we're at. You look to the right. 2 decimals, look to the right. If the number's bigger than 5, then you're going to bump it up. So because this is a 0, we're not going to change this 8. So one answer will be 0.18, and you'll leave it at that. And then your next answer, 7 is bigger than 5, so this 4 will go up 1 level to a 5. So it'll be negative 1.85. So you should expect some of them on homework to be the same way when you're working them out. Good luck.